Yeah.
Is that like, what's a Bernedoodle look like? I guess I could Google it. I'm in front of a computer.
A Bernedoodle is a Bernese mountain dog mixed with a poodle. You'll recognize it when you see it.
Yeah.
Big, goofy dogs.
Here we go.
Yeah.
These are Bernedoodles. Cute.
Not quite that. That it looks like an Aussie doodle, like a cattle dog doodle.
Bro,
the
all
ones
these pictures say Bernedoodle.
I believe it. The ones I'm walking are actually a new. That's an F1 Bernedoodle. You see that picture?
I see a million pictures.
Go up. Go up. It's on the right side. Up. 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 Keep going up to the top.
I'm all the way at the top.
Okay. Well, anyway, I don't know where you were. Down more. I get. Oh, look, the third picture below. Down. On the right. Down more. One more row on the right.
This one?
Yeah, it says F1 Bernedoodle.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, the ones I'm walking are actually F6, which is apparently a new crossbreed.
And what's a F1, F6 like? How are they? What are they doing to get these different breeds?
Yeah, I don't know.
F1 versus F1B mini Bernedoodle. What the hell?
Here, I'll
here's an F6.
Here, let me screen share and I'll show you the Bernedoodles I'm walking.
All right. Oh, I just started the recording.
Fuck me in the dick. Anyway, didn't mean to do that.
Anyway, we were talking about you onboarding a new client's dog, and it's a F6 Bernedoodle, and I don't understand what I see. F1, F1B mini.
You see that?
Oh yeah, cute.
Yeah, those are Aussie doodles. Those black and white ones, Australian Shepherd and Doodle. That big goofy fella right there is Gucci.
And you just do all this at your house?
No, I go to their house.
You go to their house. That's cool.
In the mornings, I go there, and they give me the dogs, and I walk them. And that's the other Bernedoodle.
Damn, it's still snowy and cold out over there?
The snow on the trail, you can see it's melting, but like it doesn't melt in the shade. So that snow right here on the left, see this trail at the dead end of this road goes right down to a main road, and then it goes left to the Highline Canal Trail. A lot of the bikers and people walking the trail that goes through Denver, like the commuting trail. Basically, it's like gravel. But anyway, the left side going that way, it doesn't melt until summer because it's shaded. Even when it's 50 and 60 in the day, it'll melt a little bit, but the shade
just stays at that perfect temperature to keep it.
It's not going to melt
icy
until it's 50 and 60 at night. Because like it's still getting down to like 30 and 25 at night.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. Anyway, those are Bernedoodles.
I mean, it is. That's bad.
You get used to it. It's a dry cold. It's really not that bad. Really not that bad. But speaking of dry cold and fucking Colorado.
How's he gonna do it?
How's
he gonna transition into it?
A lot of cold in Mesa County, Colorado. A lot of cold actions.
Oh, cold-bloodedness towards Tina Peters.
Yeah, cold-bloodedness. Do you have the articles?
Yeah, Andy? I do.
Okay.
I do.
Can you screen share all that? Because I started using Brave web browser because
isn't it pretty cool?
It is, and I do whatever Joe Rogan tells me to, so I download it.
Actually, Joe Rogan did not tell you that. The dude on that show. Which, by the way, did you, during that episode, and whatever, this might sound terrible, I automatically assumed until like kind of midway through when he mentioned his wife that dude was gay. I was like, whoa, taken aback for a second.
Who, Robert Malone?
No, the dude that talked about the Brave browser.
Oh, yeah. That was a different episode. That was a crazy episode, man.
And he talked about like how the senator told him, you're going to die. I would be careful about what you say because you may end up dying in an accident.
Oh, and his wife died.
And then his wife died like a couple weeks later in an accident.
And they sold the car.
Yeah, they sold the car. And they never got investigated. It's like, what?
Yeah.
That sounds a little suspect. And that dude on... Man. Anyway, not to get us off subject.
Yeah, that was crazy. So this Mesa County election in Colorado, this was in 2020. Apparently, the clerk... What's her name? Tina Peters. She shut down the security cameras around the voting booths or something during the time they were going to have an update on the Dominion software.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a video we'll watch regarding Dominion software and the susceptibility of it. But basically, that violated, election protocol, mainly the chain of custody. So
she broke the law in that regard.
Yeah. So I forget the lady's name, but the Secretary of State or whatever gave like a speech. She didn't say anything, but she fucking was like, this isn't good in a press conference.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not good to turn off the cameras. So basically, this starts with The Guardian. An article from The Guardian is what I'm trying to say. And I know The Guardian isn't that reliable, but it's a starting point. And it does cover it in like kind of seems like a biased kind of way. So whistleblower Mike Lindell claimed he would present. Oh, there's a lot of typos as well. Did you notice those?
In this article.
Yeah, like The Guardian.
This is Gateway Pundit. This isn't The Guardian though.
Oh, my bad. Gateway Pundit. Yeah, was that like a Steve Bannon funded something or other?
Yeah, it seems like I don't know. It's a suspect webpage. But we're just gathering little bits of information from it. And I did some digging off to the side about all of it too.
Okay, cool. So, Mike Lindell, a whistleblower, was going to drop a bomb at the...
You know who Mike Lindell is?
Yeah, I found out he's the My Pillow guy.
That's the My Pillow guy.
Do you have more on that whole thing? Because I couldn't keep up with all this shit when it was happening, man.
Nah,
I didn't know he was the My Pillow guy, like whatever the.
He used to be a crackhead before he was a My Pillow guy.
Really?
Yeah. If you listen to him talk in this clip, he kind of sounds like a little bit like an ex-crackhead.
Wow.
Can I play a little bit of it?
Yeah, go ahead.
But they're going to come out here in a little bit and tell you what happened.
So basically what he's talking about in this clip, when Tina Peters, he invited Tina Peters to this cyber symposium to talk about, I guess, what they thought was an election fraud that was occurring in the 2020 election in relation to the Dominion voting machines. And on their way to this cyber symposium, their office in Colorado got raided. And so they got a little scared in that situation. So they weren't even wanting to go on stage at this cyber symposium. So this is Mike Lindell basically talking about them arriving and how he, that this is just another play from the government to try and scare people from doing the right thing. It's basically his perspective on it.
Okay. And there's things, there's a lot of complications now in this. So when they come out, I'll wrap it at the end. But what you're going to hear right now will be right up to this point, because now, after what happened, we don't know why they did it, what they did, the ones that raided her. And what I'll probably end up doing, I don't know, I got to make a decision here, and they are too. They're back there with a lot of people. But
that's
a scary situation. It's what everybody gets in when they're going, they're doing their job, and then all of a sudden they take over within fear, put the fear into them. And we know it just happened. You guys were going to hear something. You're still going to hear. It's all over the news now, but you're going to hear from them. But I will tell you, because I have a red team here, this is kind of a godsend. When they're done talking, that red team is going to be doing stuff here, which they're protecting.
All right, we don't have to watch all 5 minutes of it. You get it. I just wanted you to hear him talk about it a little bit.
Skip ahead. Skip ahead to the middle part where he starts getting loud, because that's the part I like.
Knows they're going to do it. You can't count on being protected by the law anymore, or by the cure. You cannot count on it. They take you to court. They take you to court and sue you like Dominion and put fear into people. This is horrible what's going on. It's got to stop now. It's got to stop now. These are politicians. What you're going to hear is involved. I believe it involves the Secretary of State. But I believe
you got to get the facts right, dude.
So today, you're going to see it. They're coming on. But I just want to tell you, I sat back there. I said, no, you need to come on. Your protection is everybody. You got to hear it. It's kind of like one of those things. It's too late to close the gate. The cows are out of the barn.
The cows are out of the barn.
We didn't have that.
I mean, it's come off like a little bit like an egg crackhead right here.
My pillow, when I put it out, the infomercial went big right away because it was on all the media, right?
Right?
Well, here, anything we put out, I told them in the back, whatever they did this, wherever they're doing this, it will get suppressed in the news, or you will be fear of getting sued or something. That's what it is, or fear, or worse.
All right, that shit is so funny. That dude's a lunatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was Mike Lindell. Apparently, he had what was called a South Dakota symposium, whatever the fuck that is.
Cyber symposium.
Basically a meet where they talked about saving the elections. But during the time Tina Peters shut off, hey, can you click through on the next article? Criminal investigation. Scroll up.
Yep.
Criminal investigation. Yeah, there's a video of the Secretary of State giving a speech that would be cool to play. I think it's on there. I think.
Oh yeah, it should be up here at the top.
Yeah, they did like a 30-second ad. So we'll watch that. But apparently, Jenna Griswold is her name. So Tina Peters shut off the security cameras. They had an update to the Dominion voting system. During that time of the update, passwords to the voting system were uploaded to, quote,
captured
far-right blog. They uploaded passwords to the Dominion voting system to a far-right blog, is what they said.
Yep.
It is likely that the passwords were collected during software updates to voting equipment in Mesa County on May 25th. Unauthorized access to voting equipment. Hold on. The clerk's office must prove the chain of custody remains intact and there has been no unauthorized access to voting equipment in the county. Failure to do so will result in decertification of the specific voting equipment. So those votes apparently get thrown out. And I wanted to tag back to an older article that we covered a couple weeks ago regarding the chain of custody and voting, because you'll notice this article, they say a lot of things like it was a far right blog, and maybe it was, but let me go back to my last notes real quick while I'm saying this. But there was a lot of like right wing this, conservative that, right wing this, conspiracy theories this, and conspiracy theories that is what they kept saying.
Yeah. And this lady's getting nailed to the wall for a lot of other shit right now too.
Gina? No,
Tina Peters.
Oh, okay. Yeah, play that video.
Yeah, let's check this out. Oh, wait.
Breach as the second after a place its election equipment after a security breach, as the Secretary of State says that county clerk lied to her office.
Which, although, by the way, so after this breach, they did have to replace all of those voting machines because they were considered compromised after that point.
And that's one of these videos we're going to watch. Is
a Republican clerk is attending a conference on unbacked claims of voter fraud in the 2020 presidential election. CBS 4's Rick Salinger joins us at the Secretary of State's office. And Rick, Secretary Jenna Griswold says the clerk even turned off surveillance during an update in May.
Well, Mackenzie, the Secretary of State Jenna Griswold, says that the Mesa County Clerk's Office directed staff to turn off video surveillance equipment prior to a May 25th voting machine update session, thus making it unable to verify the chain of custody of these machines. Furthermore, she said an unauthorized person attended that May 25th session. That was when, she said, passwords were accessed and recently posted online by what she called conspiracy theorists. The Mesa County Clerk, Tina Peters, has denounced the Secretary of State's investigation. Griswold said Peters is not cooperating.
This is troubling for the entire state of Colorado, to have someone in a trusted position, literally trusted to protect democracy, allow this type of situation to occur. To be very clear, Mesa County Clerk and Recorder allowed a security breach, and by all evidence at this point, assisted it.
Besides the Secretary of State's investigation, we should point out that the Mesa County District Attorney's Office is also investigating this matter. We'll have much more this afternoon. Live at the Secretary of State's office in Denver, Rick Salinger, covering Colorado First.
Thanks.
There you have it.
Yeah. So the
She
FBI
was damaging democracy.
raided Peter's home early Tuesday morning, around, not recently, but when this happened, leaving her terrified, Peters said Tuesday night in an appearance on Lindell TV, an online channel run by MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell, a Trump supporter and proponent of discredited claims the 2020 election was stolen. So this is another little propaganda line. Discredited claims the 2020 election was stolen. Like,
right.
I mean, stolen is a strong word, and I'm gonna get into why fucking I keep bringing that up, but it says we executed 4 federally court authorized operations today to gather evidence in connection with the investigation into the Mesa County Clerk and Recorder's Office. We did so. That's a dumb sentence. Peters, a Republican serving her first term as the Western Slopes County chief election official, was prohibited last month from overseeing the election in the county. Griswold cited allegations allowed an unauthorized person to participate in a routine update of the voting system.
And they made copies of the hard drives, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Here's another line. In August, Griswold ordered Mesa County to replace its voting equipment after system passwords showed up in a video posted to right-wing websites. Again, right-wing websites. Maybe they were right-wing. She added, authorities used a battering ram, destroying the front door of one of her friend's home.
Now, that statement was, here's what they said about that. Wait, where is it? Sorry, bear with me. Sorry about the, I should have fucking highlighted it. They basically said that was bullshit. They did not go in with battering rams in any of their homes. And that she was even allowed to like walk around her house as they searched for evidence and make breakfast while they were there, apparently. So they said that was total bullshit. So I don't know if this lady's just a fucking loon, like a psycho, and she's just making some of this shit up. And maybe she's onto something, because like her, did we get into the initial reason why she was doing that? She brought up that voters were basically telling her that they were suspect of fuckery within the 2020 election cycle. And she noticed some inconsistencies with the way that votes were being tabulated verified and tabulated in the system. So that's essentially why she brought in this consultant to, I guess, look into it during the software update, and why she's in all this legal trouble. But she could also just be a psycho as well.
She kind of looked like a psycho.
Yeah.
Here's another line. while conspiracy theorists who did not respect the will of the voters in the 2020 presidential election attempt to replace impartial election officials in positions across the country. In Mesa County, the perpetrator has already been inside the building. So it's, again, like if you're just somebody reading this, apparently the only people who think the elections are compromised are right-wing conspiracy theorists who visit right-wing blogs and support Lindell. And I'm getting to why. Here's another one. In short, Peters risked the integrity of the county's election system to prove unfounded conspiracy theories about the 2020 presidential election. Unfounded conspiracy theories again. Lest anyone think
they're just missing the possibility of any wrongdoing being allowed to take place.
Lest anyone think this is a partisan dispute, think again. In her ruling, Judge Robinson noted that the Republican-controlled Mesa County Board of County Commissioners joined the Democratic Secretary of State in requesting Peters, Republican, have her election officials removed. I mean, she should if she did that. I'm just pointing out that they're really I can't think straight from today.
No, you're good.
Recent reporting has found that more than a dozen candidates who falsely questioned the legitimacy of the 2020 presidential elections, like you shouldn't question it, it's false. For those unsure of what this could mean, if any of these candidates win, they need no further to look than Mesa County. Like, look how bad it is over there. Okay, so we've covered this and how the Republicans are psycho and it's conspiracy theories and all of that stuff and chain of custody. But let's tag back to that Mark Zuckerberg. Let me screen share this.
All right.
We covered it. I don't have the article. I just have the iBooks with the highlights. So the CTCL, back to that episode we did a couple weeks ago where we dug into Mark Zuckerberg's $420 million given to the Center for Technology and Civic Life, the CTCL, and the Center for Election Innovation and Research, the CEIR. So when you're getting into the election being stolen, we talked a couple weeks ago about how it was most likely bought. Ironically, that's the opposite of stealing, right? So it's not conspiracy theory and right wing to not trust the elections. Whenever you look at the money, Mark Zuckerberg alone, and they have a lot to gain from people like Biden being in power, because Biden has a long and I'm broad stroking here. Biden has a long history with the CIA. All the intelligence agencies have their thumb in these big social media platforms, and
we're initial investors in them.
Trump isn't a good person, but he doesn't play within the establishment. So that's why it's really important to keep him out, and that involves people like Mark.
He just gets in the way of their stuff.
Trump, and you need people like Mark Zuckerberg to push your agenda so you can control. This is my thinking: control information and affect elections, basically.
Yeah.
So
they gave him all these donations, but they had to abide by their demands with how the money was to be spent. Like the elections had to follow certain rules, such as mail-in voting, which is obviously way more susceptible to voter fraud.
Chain of custody, which is a case that was a problem in this Mesa County thing, was chain of custody when the surveillance came. But whenever and let's talk about this here, CTCL demanded the promotion of universal mail-in voting through suspending election laws, extending deadlines that favored mail-in over in-person voting, greatly expanding opportunities for ballot curing, expensive bulk mailings, and other lavish community outreach programs that were directed by private activists. Because remember, all this money went to the public department or whatever that hired people that volunteered. So they basically bypassed the public department, just went straight to people who already have this political bias.
Unmonitored private drop boxes, which that's where the major chain of custody issues came in.
Yeah, unmonitored private drop boxes. So we're talking about chain of custody. Typically, people don't think about that with the mail-in voting, and that's what the Democrats want. Does this make any sense? How it's both sides and there is election integrity?
This side, the election integrity is not questioned, right? Even though there were major chain of custody issues with in all of these counties where CTCL and CEIR dumped a massive amount of money into making the election accessible, right? That was the idea behind it. None of that was questioned, right? But this lady turns off the security cameras for 30 minutes or whatever, however fucking long it took to do a security software update on the voting machines. In her mind, to ensure the integrity of the election, and it's all super right-wing conspiracy craziness, like just the way the media talks about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you turn off the security cameras around your Dominion voting systems, that's breaching chain of custody. But if you have unmonitored mail-in drop boxes, and what's it say right here? CTCL drove the proliferation of unmonitored private drop boxes, and this is CTCL got $420 million from Mark Zuckerberg. And opportunities for novel forms of mail-in ballot electioneering. Let me read that again. My brain's so fried. The CTCL drove the proliferation of unmonitored private drop boxes and opportunities for novel forms of mail-in ballot electioneering, allowed for the submission of numerous questionable post-election day ballots, and created opportunities for illegal ballot harvesting. Remember all that was happening? People dropping stuff off on camera late at night. The next day, people not being let in the room while they're counting. And none of that was a problem, though.
Nope, none of it.
I'm not saying
not
that,
suspect at all.
I'm not
now,
saying
this lady was not right to do what she did, but like, you're gonna call bullshit for both sides.
If you're gonna call bullshit, call bullshit. There we go. That's what I was trying to say this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta play it fair on both sides if you're gonna do that. There's obviously some fucking around going on here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the CTCL greatly increased funding for temporary staffing and poll workers, which supported the infiltration of election offices by paid Democratic Party activists, coordinated through a complex web of left-leaning nonprofit organizations, social media platforms, and social media election influencers. The amount of additional money those groups poured into election offices in Democrat voting areas was truly staggering, it says. To put it in perspective, federal and state matching funds for COVID-related election expenses in 2020 was $480 million. The CTCL and CEIR money totaled $420 million alone.
They basically matched the amount of money the federal government put into it.
So, and back to that episode, I'm glad you brought that up about the guy that was on Rogan, because he showed in his experiments, getting back to how Facebook can alter the elections and social media and why.
Even just Google can, like just Google suggestions.
Google suggestions. He said, and you probably remember this part, they could take a group of 100 people that were 50-50 split undecided, and just by altering the search suggestions could turn it into a plus 90% for one side.
Yeah, it's super powerful.
So people, us included, I mean, we have human minds. You know what I'm saying? If we're caught up in the mess, we're
manipulated by that.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you're talking about Facebook giving all this money and these nonprofit organizations acting on behalf of their interests, who's their interests? And it happens to be Zuckerberg, the left, the Democrats, and what favored them was mail-in ballots where they weren't responsible for all of their breaching and chain of custody. And you can't even have the conversation of election integrity without being branded right-wing conservative conspiracy theorist. Oh, you must think. Yeah, actually, I do think whatever you say, and I'm thinking because, well, there's a bunch of shit right here.
Yeah, but if you provided those people with those facts, first of all, they don't even know these facts, period. They haven't spent the time to look into it. They're just spouting whatever the narrative is at you. So don't take offense to it because they're just uneducated. They don't even know.
And then I will share this video. It's loading up. And this is about Dominion voting system. If you want to talk about Dominion voting system and if it's compromised.
Susceptible.
Because that was the whole thing was Dominion voting system. You can hack it. It's not safe and we can't trust it. And they must have hacked it and stole numbers for Joe Biden. And that is a right-wing talking point, right?
Right.
Well, let's look at what all of our favorite Democrats were saying about Dominion voting system before they won. Before they won the presidency, let's look at how they were talking about it. I need sound here. God damn it.
You gotta on the share, you gotta share with sound. You gotta check that little checkbox.
What checkbox?
On Zoom. Like you might have to stop sharing, click share screen, and then click the checkbox to share with sound.
God damn it, Zoom. What the fuck is this? I can't even get back to the fucking home screen.
At the very top of the page, you are viewing, you see where it says stop sharing. There you go. Now click share screen. And in the bottom left corner, share with sound.
I mean, come on. Thanks, man. Fuck me in the dick. All right.
I continue to think that our voting machines are too vulnerable.
Researchers have repeatedly demonstrated that ballot recording machines and other voting systems are susceptible to tampering.
Even hackers with limited prior knowledge, tools, and resources are able to breach voting machines in a matter of minutes.
In 2018, electronic voting machines in Georgia and Texas deleted votes for certain candidates or switched votes from one candidate to another.
The biggest seller of voting machines is doing something that violates Cybersecurity 101, directing that you install remote access software, which would make a machine like that, you know, a magnet for fraudsters and hackers.
These voting machines can be hacked quite easily.
You could easily hack into them. It makes it seem like all these states are doing different things, but in fact, 3 companies are controlling this.
It is the individual voting machines that pose some of the greatest risk.
There are a lot of states that are dealing with antiquated machines, right, which are vulnerable to being hacked.
Workers were able to easily hack into an electronic voting machine. It was possible to switch votes.
43% of American voters use voting machines that researchers have found have serious security flaws, including backdoors.
We know how vulnerable now our systems were. I know the hackathon that took place last year where virtually every machine was broken into fairly quickly.
I actually held a demonstration for my colleagues here at the Capitol where we brought in folks who, before our eyes, hacked election machines, those that are being used in many states.
Aging systems also frequently rely on unsupported software like Windows XP in 2000, which may not receive regular security patches and are thus more vulnerable to the latest methods of cyber attack.
In a close presidential election, they just need to hack one swing state, or maybe 1 or 2, or maybe just a few counties in one swing state.
I'm very concerned that you could have a hack that finally went through.
So they did not mention specifically the Dominion voting machines in that video. Was that what they were referring to?
I thought it was, but
now, once again, though, it goes back to what we were saying. Here in this video, they're all espousing how susceptible voting machines are to security threats and vulnerabilities. Yet every story you see referring to someone being concerned about the vulnerability of voting systems, you're automatically thrown into this right-wing conspiracy theorist category. And yet we have the top of Democrats all saying that point just 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, like 2018, 2019 was when they were saying that. Because, I mean, I guess that's what they call moving the goalposts. I'm texting myself another video because, speaking of how they move the goalposts, because in, for the election being stolen conversation, it's obvious that the Democrats were very skeptical of the election system and it being stolen, and they've co-opted it and turned it into a right-wing talking point.
Right.
We've got them on video saying how they don't trust it. And this is another example of having them on video saying how they don't trust the vaccine. This was when Trump was rolling it out.
A very skeptical American public about taking the vaccine, and they should be.
We can't trust the president and take his word and take a vaccine that might cause harm to us.
If and when the vaccine comes, and it's not likely to go through all the tests that needs to be and the trials that are needed to be done.
Let's just say there's a vaccine that is approved and even distributed before the election. Would you get it?
Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us.
When we finally do, God willing, get a vaccine, who's going to take the shot? Who's going to take the shot?
We will need to have access to the vaccine results so we can make our independent assessment to make sure that Donald Trump's fingerprints are not on it.
You can be the first one to say, put me, sign me up. They now say it's okay.
Is the vaccine safe? Frankly, I'm not going to trust the federal government's opinion. And I wouldn't recommend to New Yorkers based on the federal government's opinion.
And the question of whether it's real when it's there, that requires enormous transparency.
Would you trust that vaccine?
There's very little that we can trust that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth.
We cannot take for granted this process will be free of political influence.
I don't trust the president, and I don't trust the FDA.
If Donald Trump can't give answers and the administration can't give answers to these three questions, the American people should not have confidence.
You're going to...
So that's like half of the video. There's still more of them expressing major skepticism. So, I mean, you know, it's okay to be skeptical about the elections. It's okay to be skeptical about the vaccine. They're just changing the narrative because they're liars, basically, is what it comes down to. And it's mind-blowing to me that people
don't agree with what they... I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's just mind-blowing to me that people have, you know, like at work, the experiences I've had being an anti-vaxxer. And it's like, don't you know the fucking people you voted for and love shared my sentiments about election integrity and vaccines when Trump was president, but now that they're in power and have the most to lose, are just changing the narrative. And you're like, people don't even fucking realize it. Like when I was having the conversation about gain of function with my boss, and I was like, that's why I don't want the vaccine, because Fauci funded gain of function and then lied about it. And you can't trust any of these people. And then she was like, yeah, but they have to do that. She did this, they have to do that to protect us from the virus. And it's like less than a year ago, I was a kook for saying this. And now you accept it as truth, but still don't check out and wake up. You're like, yeah, but they have to do that. A year ago, it was like, they wouldn't do that. It's natural origin. And then now it's like, yeah, but they have to, and they just keep going. They don't ever, I don't understand how people don't realize like how, what am I trying to say here, man? It's so obvious. I can't even word it. Like, how are people so fucking duped? It's wild. Because they weren't paying attention. I'll tell you, because they weren't paying attention. When Trump was president, they weren't that, like, people like just woke up out of outrage against Trump. And then they like, when I said it, when if Biden wins, people are just going to go back to sleep. And that's what they did. They just, their minds just went back to sleep. Oh yeah. They're letting the media just guide them through life. I'm still sharing my screen. Yeah. Crazy. Anyway, so that's about those election thoughts, and they forget about, things move so fast. They just forget about things too. They forget that all the Democrats said that about the vaccine. I mean, granted, me and you put a lot of that. Yeah, we do a lot of research. We put in a lot of reading because we're doing a podcast. And I would imagine most people don't do the reading we do. And we don't even do like amazing, we're not deep diving. We got full-time jobs and shit. Yeah, but I imagine like if everybody else was to stay privy to things, they like I read more in a month than most people I'm surrounded with at work and shit do in like a year. Oh, I'm sure. You know what I'm saying? And then they're walking around like they know. And I just find it so funny when people know so confidently. But it's like, what's the last fucking book you read? You know what I'm saying? Like half of 50 Shades of Grey doesn't count. Like, what have you read?
Half of 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah. So anyway, enough on that.
Let's move on to something a little bit cooler. Let's move on to some ancient history.
Yeah. This is a cool one.
In Wisconsin.
You want to go ahead and share that?
I got you, man. Let me share it up. There you go. A 1,200-year-old dugout canoe raised from Lake Mendota.
Lake Mendota in, what's that, Wisconsin?
In Wisconsin. So they were out on a little Saturday morning in June, Tamara Thompson and Mallory Dratt, and they took a spin underwater, scuba diving on these little underwater scooters. They saw something sticking out from the bottom of like a slope underneath the lake, which is 9,781 acres. So it's huge. Thought it was a stick at first, but then one of them is a maritime archaeologist with the Wisconsin Historical Society. Thought it might be something a little bit more, and they were right. They found that it was a dugout canoe. They did some carbon dating on it, and it showed that it was 1,200 years old, which is the oldest boat that was ever found in Wisconsin waters. So pretty cool. They had some neat stuff in here about like how they thought the canoe was made. I don't know if you kind of looked into that a little bit, but
I think I did. How was it? I didn't.
Basically, they like burned the underside of the wood and like dug out like the soft part after it was burned with, I guess, whatever primitive tools they had at the time. The people who built this canoe were the ancestors of the Ho-Chunk tribe, which is the Native American people that were indigenous to that territory. I didn't find a whole lot on like that. It was obviously the people that came before the Ho-Chunk were the ones who did this. That came along during the late woodland period, I believe it's called. So, yeah. Sorry, I feel like I'm talking a lot. What you got on this?
No, you're good. I didn't have much on it because everything was kind of in that article. Just thought it was fascinating. That
it is fascinating.
Just some lake, in town, and there's ancient shit happening underground. And
what I did think. Go ahead.
Sorry, it was below the dirt too, which is that just makes me think of all the things. I mean, there's even the pyramids and the Sphinx were covered in sand. So how much is buried?
Well, they believe that that's why this was preserved, because it was buried in the dirt and the sunlight wasn't reaching it, which would have caused it to deteriorate and basically get eaten by marine wildlife and biology quicker. And it was basically uncovered by some large wake boat that was passing by the area and kicked up the sediment along the bottom of the lake and exposed that one little part of it.
Wow.
And luckily they had two scuba divers out on a Saturday morning in June, just found it. They stuck some rebar underneath it and put like a net on top of it with some weights and kind of slowly dug it out. Took them like 2 hours to go 1 mile to the shore with it. But let me see if I can find a picture of what it looks like. That's what it looks like right there.
2 hours to go 1 mile.
Yeah, it was a very slow process.
I think I saw a YouTube video a while back of somebody hand making one of these types of canoes, and they did that method where I could be making this up in my head, but I feel like I saw it, and they burned it. And
maybe so.
Also, I could be making that up. So,
well, that's what they think they did with this one. The ancestors of the Ho-Chunk tribe who did this were also the ones who built the effigy mounds in Wisconsin, which southern Wisconsin has a ton of. And if you remember from old episodes that we have, the effigy mounds are usually made along different crests along the earth, which could be related to cosmic impacts, could not, but a lot of times they resemble different animals like snakes and some humans in this case, and birds. Anyway, I'll put up some pictures of those too, so you could take a look at that.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet.
Pretty cool.
Is that a sculpted land? Wisconsin's effigy mounds connected people to spirits. Is that real right there, dude?
I don't know.
Dude, click on that picture. Go to that. What the hell? It's like a big Nazca line of a figure, and then the legs meet the road that's passing through it. But the legs continue over the road and onto the other side, colored white, like somebody painted it.
The road probably cut through there, and
maybe some jokesters.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Give me a second. Tiffany's calling me. Might be something with the baby. Hold on, you might have to cut this part out, baby. Hold on, you might have to cut this part out.
Yo, dog.
Yo, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good, man. I was hitting my resin because I am out of weed.
Oh shit! You live in the green state and you're out of weed. How's that happen?
I spent all my money.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yeah, I'm waiting on my clients to pay me. We have a very informal arrangement, so
they just kind of pay you whenever.
Yeah, well, one of them said, I'll pay you today and stuff, and then I guess she forgot. So that was 2 days ago. So
are you gonna tell her something?
I don't like to. I'm good. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I shouldn't have to, because if I saved my money and was smart, like, I wouldn't need it right now.
I hear you.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Like, I don't need 7 hats.
But you have 7 hats.
Yeah, I don't need 2 NFL beanies that look like football helmets.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, you don't need that shit for sure.
Oh, man. But I kind of do, because it's cold as fuck here. But you know what I'm saying. I could have went to Walmart and,
got a $3 one, yeah. That's fucking funny.
Yeah. No, it's all good though. It's all good.
So before I left, we were looking at these effigy mounds, and we found this one, and I was just reading the caption below it. It says the Man Mound is east of Baraboo in Man Mound County Park. This is the only effigy mound of a human that's remained nearly intact and was likely built more than 1,000 years ago. How fucking crazy is that?
Dude, those legs too, that trips me out, man. Those legs too.
Right?
What are those falcon eagles right there? That looks crazy. Down 2 rows.
Right here?
Yeah. Raptor
Resource Project. Falcon effigies of the Upper Mississippi River.
I didn't know this shit was right there in our backyard. I always thought the South was
Upper Mississippi River.
Well, it's still pretty. It's not like, because growing up where we grew up, it's like if you want to go somewhere cool, you got to go to the mountains or New York. It's like I didn't realize awesome ancient stuff was just right
by the
there.
Mississippi.
Falcon effigies in North. Look at that shit. When I first viewed Dr. Malam's aerial images, I was immediately struck by the shape of the bird mounds.
This is in Iowa.
Okay.
It's pretty far up there.
Yeah, it's still kind of...
LiDAR. They found this with LiDAR.
Oh. Wow.
Check this shit out. LiDAR imagery of the falcon effigies.
Dude.
Look at this. Oh, shit. Whoops. Oh, look at these, the bears. Whoa.
Wow. 80 feet long, 85 feet long. That's pretty long, man. That's almost 90 feet.
Primitive, like they're 1,000 years old,
At least.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah, man. That is wild. Wow. So Ho-Chunk Indians, one of their old canoes, found them.
Probably the same people that built these effigy mounds built that canoe. Wild.
Wow. They were busy people. They were busy people.
They built the canoes just like the CIA found out that aliens were building pyramids and obelisks on Mars.
That was a good segue. Yeah, so this article is interesting because, there's always that talking point people bring up about, the CIA was studying telepathy and astral projection and remote view.
Well, they really were.
Yeah, they really were. So this article covers quickly a lot of interesting talking points, and one of the click-throughs led to firm evidence that the CIA was involved. And it's Ask Molly. So maybe we should read the Ask Molly thing first.
Well, this is directly from the CIA.gov.
Yeah, CIA.gov. It's a Q&A for Molly.
Makes me automatically not trust this bullshit, but no, because the CIA's done so much fucked up shit. But
yeah,
I guess they wouldn't know about the program if anyone would, right?
I read that whole book on Uri Geller a while back when we did that episode. I forgot what episode, but I got a digital book on Uri Geller and wound up stopping it in the middle because I was like, I think this guy's bullshit. Like, I'm pretty sure he's bullshit.
I know. It's like, do I waste my time reading this giant book that I'm pretty sure the author was like smoking meth at a truck stop when he was writing it? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
just Uri Geller in general, I think he was bullshit.
I get it.
But at the same time, he did do things, and I think it talks about it in this.
It talks about it not in the Dear Molly. It talks about it in this article, but we'll bounce back and forth.
He did do things that are still anomalous.
So, Dear Molly, did the CIA really study psychic powers? He goes on to say, from the CIA's early history, they had been interested in investigating whether extrasensory perception or other paranormal phenomena, generally called parapsychology, existed, and if so, if they had operational uses for intelligence. The earliest record they had found was a 1948 memorandum speculating whether hypnotized people could be used for long-distance communication. They didn't start to conduct their own research into psychic phenomena until the summer of '72, where they worked with scientists and researchers to investigate whether certain people could see locations and objects around the world without actually being there. The ability that is known as remote viewing, which if you've seen the movie Men Who Stare at Goats, that's what that's all about, right?
I don't think I have. Have you seen it?
A long time ago. CIA ended the research 5 years later in '77, and they turned the program over to the Defense Intelligence Agency. That's where it became known as Project Stargate, which was the initial name for the program. And then later it was renamed Grill Flame. Grill Flame. In the mid-1990s, the DIA handed the program back to the CIA, and they took another look at it. They hired the American Institute for Research to evaluate it, an outside group, who published their findings in '95 in a report that's available on the internet, and actually tell you exactly what to Google. Google an evaluation of remote viewing, which will return up a 183-page document. The report's conclusion echoed the assessments of the officers involved with the program during the '70s, which was that enough accurate remote viewing experiences existed to defy randomness. So it's not total bullshit, the CIA is saying, but it was too unreliable, inconsistent, and sporadic for it to be useful for intelligence purposes. So they decided not to restore the program. Soon after the request of Congress, we agreed to review the program and declassify records for the public. They worked closely with the DIA, the U.S. Army, to gather all relevant records and place the entire collection from all three organizations on CIA.gov in the FOIA electronic reading room, which you can access here. And there's a click through as well at the bottom by where you can read a declassified studies and intelligence article written by Kenneth Kress, which sums up the CIA program pretty well. This is an excerpt from that. Far too long for us to go through, but it just kind of sums up findings on the specifics of parapsychology. It does show some pretty interesting like comparisons, right? Like right here where they're like having the remote viewing subjects draw what they think are in these different locations, and then on the left hand side you have the actual comparison of the remote viewer drawing, and then the actual crane that's in the location here. Well, so they did pretty fucking good.
And that's a government document right there.
Yeah,
that's
this is a government document. This is not bullshit.
That's pretty crazy.
So pretty neat stuff, like wild. And this Sun article goes into it a little bit, and I love how they just go for they go right for the goddamn headline, right? Stargate project used psychics to find ancient aliens living on Mars millions of years ago. This is the equivalent of those articles like when you're in the grocery store with your mom, like when you're a little kid and you look off to the side and they have those lunatic articles about like fucking Yetis and whatever crazy shit that on the National Enquirer and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like woman caught having an affair with Yeti. Admits
just the most outlandish shit.
Admits the hydroxychloroquine wiped her memory or something. I don't know.
I did find it interesting what that particular, so where they're getting that headline from is one of the subjects, one of the psychics who claimed to be able to do remote viewing, was a remote viewing in Mars, and found ancient Martians and he described them as like giants at the end of their, let me see if I can find it in this article.
Yeah.
So here we go. Asked by a CIA agent who would sleep. I get real raw inputs, storms, savage storms, sleeping through storms. Asked by the CIA agent who would sleep through the storms, the man claimed to be able to make out an alien race. Very tall, very large people, but they're very thin, he said. They're ancient people. They're dying. It's past their time or age. So strange.
Wow. And there are pictures on Mars, that famous obelisk looking thing and that famous pyramid looking structure. And when I look at it, I don't know, honestly. It doesn't strike me as obviously something. It could be an artifact with this shadow and this and that, but I like to believe it is something. Because, fucking, why couldn't some kind of ancient species have lived on Mars? Oh, are you looking up? Yeah, is that on Mars, dude? Whoa, that's a straight up pyramid.
NASA, JP, Caltech, MSSS. That looks like a fucking pyramid, doesn't it?
HuffingtonPost.com. It does. Is that like the original raw photo, or you think they photoshopped something onto that?
Let's see if I can find the NASA one.
NASA discovers pyramid on Mars. Whoa. Dude, is that from the rover?
There's no way.
What? NASA discovered pyramid on Mars, and its rover pictures of straight up a pyramid.
How big is that, though? How big are those rocks by it?
Man, I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, that looks straight up like...
Yeah, it even has the capstone.
Yeah.
What? Dude.
What in the fuck? What are these faces?
Dude, send me that article. Trinity. Over the years, NASA satellite images of the red planet have shown some strange and often disquieting objects. Now, a stunning raw NASA image of a pyramid on the Mars surface has once again fueled speculation that Mars used to be the home of an alien civilization. What the F?
The Martian pyramid is about the size of a small car. Mars enthusiasts speculated is only the capstone of a gigantic pyramid that once towered on a Martian landscape, but is now buried by eons of sand.
Oh, yeah, maybe it is buried. Why wouldn't it be?
Maybe.
Wow, which would explain why the tip.
What stands out about the photography is the symmetry, a telltale sign that differentiates a natural formation from a man-made one, as its angles and lines. Additionally, the pyramid image belongs to one of the very clearest images captured on Mars. This artificial structure clearly points to evidence that a civilization once, I wouldn't say clearly points to it, but go for it. The image's original time frame spanned over 20 to 30 second intervals. Strangely enough, the photos taken by the Curiosity rover immediately following the initial pyramid photo did not include the pyramid. What? The image's original time frames spanned over 20 to 30 second intervals. Strangely enough, the photos taken by the Curiosity rover immediately following the initial pyramid photo did not include the pyramid. What the fuck does that mean? Because it took I guess because what does it mean that the time frame spanned over 20 to 30 second intervals? I guess of it taking photos panning across a landscape. Is that what it means?
Yeah, like 20 or 30 seconds in between the photos.
Well, I guess that would make sense, like as it's turning, but I don't fully understand that. Anyway, damn, we need to do a deep dive on this shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Sorry, guys. We're learning as we're doing this podcast. We got completely off of remote viewing and started looking at obelisks and pyramids on Mars.
That's trippy, though. If I'm being honest, that's pretty trippy. But back to that article under Ancient Martians. Army veteran Joseph McMoneagle claims that remote viewers such as himself were used to track down hostages taken by terror groups and hunt U.S. fugitives. McMoneagle told the Washington Post that he was involved in 450 missions between 78 and 84. He says he helped the military locate hostages in Iran and detected a tiny radio hidden in the calculator of a suspected Russian spy in South Africa. The alleged remote viewer admitted the practice is not always accurate, saying 98% of the people are kooks. Uri Geller, celebrity psychic and famed spoonbender from Israel, was also studied as part of the project. During these experiments, Geller sat in a sealed and monitored room where he was asked to draw words and objects using his psychic powers. This is where it actually shows more of those comparisons.
That was one from the official document, the government document. So,
yeah. So it was Uri Geller that did that drawing.
Not that one. This was from someone else.
Gotcha. In one of the tests, a word was selected at random from a dictionary. The first word selected was fuse. A firecracker was then drawn by someone outside the locked room. Geller was told via intercom the drawing was finished after the picture had been taped to the wall outside. The CIA documents say his almost immediate response was that he saw a cylinder with noise coming out of it.
Whoa.
His drawing to correspond with it was a drum along with a number of cylindrical-looking objects. The second word chosen was bunch, and a scientist drew a bunch of grapes. The documents continue. He then talked about purple circles. Finally, he said he was quite sure he had the picture. His drawing was indeed a bunch of grapes.
I hear. Wild.
Yeah.
Researchers concluded that Uri demonstrated his paranormal perceptual ability in a convincing and unambiguous manner. And then it goes on to talk about how the CIA ended the program in 1977, handed it over to the DIA. It was renamed to Grill Flame. We talked about that. We talked about the researchers from the American Institute publishing their findings, basically saying that it was not bullshit, but not reliable enough to use for intelligence. Oh, and it talks about the menus there. Go to the bottom.
There's a click through to another article of secrets of the CIA from a fake town where spooks learn to survive torture. If you can find a click through. Yeah, I think it's that link.
Oh, secrets of the CIA from fake town where spooks learn to... Okay.
Basically a fake town. While training differs for all CIA agents, some are tested in secret in a simulated town called the Farm.
What?
Hidden away on a 10,000-acre site in Virginia, the covert facility plays host to a huge adrenaline-fueled game of make-believe that's dubbed the most demanding espionage training on Earth. Here, amid the fake town square, woodland, and buildings designed to look like embassies, ruthlessly selected spies are taught everything from recruiting informants to withstanding torture. They even reportedly learn ways to kill themselves in case they're captured during their real-life cloak and dagger work abroad.
What in the hell? It's like a real-life spy movie, bro.
Yeah, I don't understand this statement. It's pretty crazy. We learned defensive driving. Our instructors teaching us to flip cars by tapping a spot above their rear wheel. Oh, I see. Above their rear wheel with our own front grille, and how to... Okay, so they learn how to flip cars by tapping a spot above the other car's rear wheel with their front grille.
They have its own museum that's closed off to the public.
Yeah, I want to go to that museum.
But you can't. You got to go to the secret town.
That is a catfish robot right there.
Yeah, it says underneath it.
And that AK above it is apparently Osama bin Laden's AK.
What?
Yeah. Which the whole Osama bin Laden thing. We should deep dive when they killed Osama bin Laden, because that whole thing is fishy. According to a lot of good research from Media Roots Radio, it's almost like they were sitting on that killing of Obama as a wild card, like a political wild card, to draw it whenever the time came. It's not like they were actually hunting him this whole time and then they actually got to him. They were just waiting for the right time as a media ploy. So it's like Osama bin Laden never really was that guy, if that makes any sense. But we should deep dive that for sure.
We should. This was a long article to click through right here.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. It says, as the months pass, the spies are sent on days-long treks across woodland with a rainproof notepad and are trained to shoot targets with Glocks and M4s. But it's not all hard work for the youngsters. Every so often, Amaryllis wrote, the spies get a free weekend during which they meet up at local hotels, watch movies, and sometimes, most times, we have sex.
What the fuck? All right.
Yeah.
The CIA does not acknowledge its existence. It is widely rumored to be based at the U.S. military reservation camp Peary near Williamsburg. Wild.
And then you get into more mind control games.
Yeah, we've went into that. I was kind of scanning through this. Talks about Frank Olson, which we've done a whole deep dive on. And
Frank Olson was involved in that Tom O'Neill book. Yeah, MK Ultra, but he's the guy that jumped out the window. Yeah.
They killed him. He cracked.
Yeah.
He cracked.
The CIA reportedly wanted people who couldn't fight back and often bribed heroin addicts into taking LSD with offers of more heroin. I think they're talking about MK Ultra.
Yeah. And then, since we're talking about remote viewing and shit.
Oh, real quick. It says here, some of the experiments for MK Ultra inspired a chilling storyline in Stranger Things. The storyline around Eleven's mom is said to be based on the experiments.
What?
Yeah.
What were the experiments?
I was just trying to find that. I don't know. I haven't seen the show and I haven't looked up the specific experiments.
From chilling mind control experiments using drugs, hypnosis, and electronic devices that inspired a harrowing storyline in Stranger Things to the grueling training process spies go through, we look at some of his top secrets. All right. Cameron also put his patients through electroconvulsive therapy at 30 to 40 times the normal power. The shady experiments went on to inspire the chilling story of Eleven's mom in Netflix's string. Also, basically electroshock therapy, I guess, or electroconvulsive therapy.
Chemically induced comas, playing music, deep
playing Red Hot Chili Peppers, yeah.
Yeah, shit like that.
Yeah, CIA does some fucking strange stuff, man.
The last article that this was leading into was Uri Geller claiming he's going to find the Ark of the Covenant.
He just said this on January 4th, by the way.
Yeah,
Let's see if he's right, man.
Dude, what if he does, man? I was just reading about Solomon's Treasure in this Nazi book, The Rise of the Fourth Reich. And apparently King Solomon, from way back in the day, like Jericho, pre-Neolithic Revolution kind of times, had a treasure, Solomon's treasure. And it was reported to have been buried at a certain site. So over the years, I can go back and find this timeline. I wanted to do an episode on it, actually.
Okay.
Oh shit, the book is right here. But the timeline was that eventually the Roman Catholic Church got a hold of the treasure. And then you get into how it went from the Roman Catholic Church, the Knights of the Templars or the Cathars, I think. The Goths. The Goths. Scandinavia or something. They got it and then moved it to the Pyrenees Mountains because they were the other religion and they were competing with Christianity. So like they got it and then they moved it to the Pyrenees Mountains, and then Hitler.
Yeah, he was really into it.
There was a long gap where this stuff wasn't talked about. And then one of Hitler's guys, like Himmler, the guy that was into the occult mystic, he was his occult guy. He was like, hey, I know where this stuff is. So Hitler sent his team to the Pyrenees Mountains to find Solomon's treasure. Long story short, it wasn't where it was supposed to be, so they reevaluated and they found it like where the original temple was or something. So they actually found a shit ton of treasure and then hauled it back. And what was interesting was, this is about to get crazy, because when they found the treasure in the Pyrenees Mountains, it was Hitler said, wait, I'm going to fly in. So he flew in. And on the day he flew in, the whole village has a ceremony every year where they walk out to this area and like pay homage to their ancestors or whatever religiously. And it was in their religious text to a prophecy from their own past that on a certain day, basically on that day that the prophecy was supposed to be fulfilled was when they walked out and Hitler showed up in the sky to take it all. And it was supposed to be like a day of transference of we'll get into that on a deep dive. I'm just trying to say right now that Uri Geller claiming he's going to find the Ark of the Covenant, there actually is a super, super rich history back to Solomon's treasure and the Ark of the Covenant, going all the way up to Hitler. And then you get into 9/11, how the basement, there were bombs from the first responders and their witnesses. There was explosions in the basement, and the big safe that had all of our money in it was like blown open. It was empty. And like, apparently there was Nazi gold in there.
What? A lot
of other shit.
Fuck.
And the Nazi gold had the Black Eagle stamped on it. And all that gold, once they found the treasure, they melted it down. So the Nazi gold very well could be
the Ark of the Covenant.
Partially melted down Solomon's treasure.
Yeah.
Which involved scrolls and ancient knowledge too, but they didn't find any of that. So with that being said, we'll do an episode on that later. But for now, Ark of the Covenant, and Uri Geller thinks he's going to find it.
This would be huge. It would be an atomic blast that has never been seen before in history. He said, he told his followers on Twitter, I know where the Ark of the Covenant is. I will find it. Mark my words. It will be an earth-shattering historical tsunami and an archaeological and theological earthquake. Yes, my dear friends, the opposition will be huge, but we're talking about an item that is holy and nothing will come in its way to be freed and shock the world into a biblical historical reality. Strong words, Yuri. I know where it is. I have seen it via remote viewing. It has 4 golden rings on its corners. I can see it clearly. Yuri said he cannot reveal where it is, but he hinted it may still be in Israel. The Ark is believed to have been constructed by Moses after God told him to, and is one of the most mythologist, objects in history. I'm tired too. It is a pure gold covered, blah, 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 blah. We all know what the Ark of the Covenant is. Or if you didn't, it's a pure gold covered wooden chest with an elaborate lid that supposedly contains the 2 stone tablets of the 10 Commandments. Said to have last rested in King Solomon's temple in Jerusalem before it was attacked by the Babylonians in 587 BC, and what has happened to it since has been a mystery. It has been sought by archaeologists and treasure hunters, and is rumored to possess great supernatural powers, and even caught the interest of Adolf Hitler, as you just described.
Yeah.
Wow, man. We'll see if he finds it or not. He says he's gonna find it this year, right?
Yeah, I'll read this real quick and we can wrap it up just from the Nazi stuff, just to give some specifics. But on January 17th, 1917, Saunier suffered a sudden stroke. A nearby priest was called to administer last rites, but visibly shaken, refused to do so after hearing Saunier's confession, which has never been made public. Shit, I should have read that before I read it because it didn't make any sense. But this part, Ron's work was getting him closer to the location of the treasure. Quote, in a letter written to Ron's close friend, Karl Maria Willigut Weistor, in September 1935, Otto Rahn informed his friend that he was at a place where he had a reason to believe the Grail might be found, and that Weistor should keep the matter secret with the exception of mentioning it to Himmler. The Germans promptly found a secret path. This was when they found in the Pyrenees Mountains, I think. Mm-hmm. They found a secret path used as an escape route for the Cathars during the siege of Montségur, which ended in March 1244, exactly 700 years earlier. Scorzani and his men scouted along this path and soon discovered what appeared to be an ancient trail leading into the higher mountains. At an undisclosed distance from Montségur, they found a fortified entrance to a large grotto. Perhaps it was the Grotto of Blois, which was the last refuge of the Cathars after the fall of Montségur. Not far from this grotto was the mountain called La Peyre, Peyre. Near the crest of this mountain was another grotto, and in this cavern, it is said, they found the treasure. On March 15th, 1944, Scorzani sent a one-word telegram to Berlin. It read, Eureka, I have found it.
Whoa.
Oh, here it is. The pilgrims placed special significance, the ones that were coming to the mountains to have their ritual. When Scorzani said, I found it, it was responded, well done, congratulations. Watch the sky tomorrow at noon, await our arrival. This was signed Reichsfuhrer SS. The pilgrims placed special significance on that date that he was going to arrive, March 16th, 1944, because of an ancient prophecy that stated, at the end of 700 years, the laurel will be green once more. So when that day was the 700-year mark, and then Hitler landed, had all the treasure, and then left. And it said the pilgrims on the mountaintop were awestruck and reacted as if a miracle had occurred. They had no idea that the fabulous treasure of the Cathars had been discovered only a short time before, and that the plane was saluting the victorious expedition.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We have to do a deep dive on that for sure.
So I'm rooting for Yuri.
Me too, man. I'm about to follow him on Twitter. I'm about to follow him on Twitter so I can stay up with this.
I mean, I'm so tired of all these ancient mysteries being teased to us. Somebody fucking find one of them already.
Dude, right?
Find Jesus's body. Find the Ark of the Covenant. Find out what the pyramids are. Let's stop recycling these same documentaries on Discovery Channel.
No shit, dude.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, how many times can we do Shark Week until we're sick of sharks? That's what I'm trying to say. Do you find Shark Week interesting at all?
I don't watch that.
What more is there to talk about with sharks? Did you know that the strength of a shark's jaw is comparable to 5 fully functioning construction cranes all at once? Find out more after this break.
Watch our ads. All right, Uri Geller.
He's wearing a mask.
This was 11 hours ago. There is a mammoth illegal telephone bugging scandal in Israel. There's no doubt at all in my mind that my phone was or is bugged since my friendship with Netanyahu and family goes back decades. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just seeing... Bro, come on. Where's the fucking Ark of the Covenant at, dude?
What's that thing he's talking about? Ramses the third right there. It was a third.
Oh, look,
pharaoh.
on February 2nd, he reposted that fucking shit from the CIA. As a result of Geller's success in this experimental period, we consider that he has demonstrated his paranormal perceptual ability in a convincing and unambiguous manner. We just read that from the article.
Oh, what was in the Q&A? She said that the studies were that defied the odds, but nothing significant yet. We'll wrap up on that. If you can just go back to that Q&A with Molly, which I have it right here.
This? There wasn't a... No, so the Q&A was referenced on this. It was a click through from this page right here. Oh, no, wait. That was it.
I think she said something in her that Q&A page. I think Molly said something.
It said the report, I read this whole thing a minute ago. It said that report's conclusion, which echoed the assessments of the CIA officers involved in the program in the 70s, was that enough accurate remote viewing experiences existed to defy randomness, but that the phenomenon was too unreliable, inconsistent, and sporadic to be useful for intelligence purposes. So it definitely did not deny that it worked.
Yeah.
So Yuri might be onto something, man.
So we know they changed program names. So let's just assume they continued the program under a different name.
Well, they did.
Now, Grill Flame, right? Something like that.
Right.
So what they found defied the odds and wasn't just random, but it wasn't so figured out and developed they could use it. But what if it is able to be developed and used? Just because they didn't figure that out. They would do
with like high-end, like new rocket technology, right? Like hypersonic.
Yeah, like we don't know how to use it.
We wouldn't know about that, but like they really have it down pat.
Yeah, they don't have it down pat yet. Is what I'm saying.
They're using it for UFO technology. We just don't know about it.
Yeah, like I met this one girl and she was like, "Are you into astral projection?" And I was like, "Only if it's not my ass." And she was like, "No, astral." I was like, "Oh, no, I never have done that before."
Only if it's not my ass. I get it.
Yeah. Stupid joke. All right, well, I think that's it for today's episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I was jamming y'all's new record release. I got to the third track, second song, because y'all have that cool intro.
Yeah, the rack.
Yeah, that's a cool intro. Who made that? Did Jai sit there with the keyboard? It's
Jai
cool
made
intro.
all that. Yeah.
That takes a lot of time. When I hear intros like that, I'm like, I'm never doing this because it takes too much time. But that's really cool.
And it's funny because one of the reviews in like another language, I translated it and it read, it starts with the always useless intro track. I was just laughing because they're not wrong. I thought it actually, when you play that shit at the show and like it's just a sample playing and like all the crowd's getting hype as the little music box playing, it was pretty dope. It was dope cool. for the live experience. It was really cool.
That's cool.
Maybe if I'm listening to the record at home, I skip it, but
yeah, it's still cool though. But that's super cool for the live experience. That's epic.
Oh yeah, it was really fun
with the guitar feedback.
Well, we didn't even know. We just let it play out, and it's just the loud ass sample, and it kind of builds up, and then Eddie counts us off, and we go straight into Leech. Well, that's what we did at the album release show. We played it front to back. It was cool.
Badass. That's cool. Yeah, everybody, go jam that new record out.
Please go order the physical copies. Support us there.
Yeah, links will be below. Where y'all have it? The Bandcamp?
Lacerated Enemy merch store, or record label merch store.
Okay. Lacerated Enemy merch store. All right, I'll link that in there.
Yeah, trust me. It's all I'll try and get it to you. It's all over Golgothan's page, so I should be able to send it to you pretty easy.
Or just send me Golgothan's page.
Yeah,
if it has the link to it.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, man. Fun episode. Quick, easy articles. Got sidebarred a little bit, but felt fun.
My conclusion is, I think it's okay to be skeptical of the elections.
I think it's okay to be skeptical. That's my conclusion.
Good. I like that.
In general.
I like that. I agree.
All right, everybody. Check us out on all of our social media and have a good week. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Later, Jesse.
Later, man.